Hello, my little mathematicians. Today, I'm going to help you get started and actually work through your geometry unit study guide. So, always try the problems yourself. So, pause the video, try them yourself, and then unpause them and come back to see how you did. And you can always fast forward or rewind to the problems that you need. Okay, so for this first one, again, you tried it yourself and now you unpaused it, you're back with us. It says it wants you to find the area of this parallelogram. So ask yourself, what's the formula for the area of a parallelogram? Yeah, hopefully you said base times height. And then what's that base length? 7.5. And that height, which I know in this one, it's the only one given, but in case there was other numbers along the sides, look for that little box. And that box right here, see how that looks like an H for height? Okay, that's your height. And then that height connects to your base. So this is your base and that's your height. Just in case it was like rotated sideways or there was other numbers there to confuse you, I always look for that little box and the line that it makes, that's the H. And it can be inside the shape, or it could even be drawn like outside the shape, or it could even be one of the outside edges if it met at a right angle. Okay, but then the base is always a part of the shape and it's connected by that box. All right, I know that that was easy for this particular problem, but it isn't always that easy. Now type that into your calculator, 7.5 times 2.8, what'd you get? Hopefully you said 21. And then is it inches or inches squared? Yeah, it's inches squared. Area is always square units because technically the base is in inches, the height is in inches, and inches times inches is inches squared. That's where it comes from. Okay, this next one says, what's the area of this notebook paper? Well, what shape is that? Yeah, it's basically a rectangle. A rectangle is a form of a parallelogram, so it's the same formula of base times height. What's that base length? 6 1/4. How do I type that into my calculator? How do I change 1/4 into like a decimal? Okay. Well, you know that 6 is just 6. It's the fraction part that's weird. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that top number and divide it by the bottom number because that's essentially all that a fraction is. It's the top divided by the bottom. So when you typed in 1 divided by 4, you got, 0.25. So 6 1/4 is the same as 6.25. And then the height is 9. So now type that in, 6.25 times 9, and you get 56.25 square inches. Okay. The next one says a magazine picture of a purse is shown below. How much area does the purse, not including the handle, so not that part, just basically this part right here, take up in the magazine layout? Well, what shape is that? Yeah, it's a trapezoid. So go ahead and write down the formula for the area of a trapezoid, which is base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2, or 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height. Multiplying by a half is the same as dividing by 2, right? Okay. Your bases are the two parallel sides. So even if this trapezoid was like rotated this way, these two are the parallel sides. So those are your two bases. Okay. So it's 6 and 11. And then your height is that perpendicular distance that separates your two parallel bases, which in this case is the 4. Inside parentheses first, what's that 6 plus 11? 18 times 4 over 2. And now you could just multiply this all out, 18 times 4, and then divide it by 2. Or what I like to do is make them smaller. Since this is all multiplying, I can reduce that 18 by 2, and that becomes 9. And then 2 divided by 2 is 1. Now, like, I already divided with the 2, so, like, that's it. I don't do it with the 4 as well. And then 9 times 4 is 36. Over 1 is just 36. So it's 36 centimeters squared. Now, I want to go back and point out, you can't divide that 2 into that 6 here, because when there's a plus sign, like, that kind of ruins everything. I have to simplify this down first, and then I can't, like, reduce my fraction until it's all left with, like, just multiplying relationships. Then I can reduce one of the things if I want to. I could have just done 18 times 4 equals and then divided by 2 if you want. Okay. Oh my goodness. And I'm just looking right now as I was just about to pick up my pencil. Did you check yourself and did you get that same answer? I hope you didn't, because it's not right. Because what is 6 plus 11? Is 6 plus 11 18? No, I was looking up at that 2 up there and somehow saw 12, and that's how I got the 18. What is 6 plus 11? It's actually what? 17. Yeah, see, look, mistakes happen. And then I don't want to divide the 2 into the 17. I'm actually going to divide the 2 into the 4, and that becomes a 2. And what's 2 times 17? 34. Is that what you got? Yes, and I promise you that one actually is the right answer. It's 34 centimeters squared. I was just testing you to see if you were awake. Okay, the next one, number 4. A triangular flag has a height of 18.5 inches and a base of 12 inches. How many square inches of material is the flag? So basically, they're saying you have what shape? A triangle. And when it says how many square inches, they're asking you, can you find the area? So the height is 18.5. The base is 12. And we're trying to find out what the area is. So let's go ahead and write down the area formula for a triangle. Well, the base is 12 and the height is 18.5. So now 2 goes into 12 how many times? Yeah, 6 times. And 6 times 18.5, can you go ahead and type that in? Okay, you should have gotten 111 square inches. All right. If you just typed in 12 times 18.5 equals and then divided by 2, yes, you still would have gotten the same thing. Reducing at the beginning is optional. For the next one, you have a house, and it's saying the front door of a home is being painted, not including the door. And the door measures 9 by 2 feet. So let's go ahead and write that down. Okay, so that is 2 by 9 right there. And how many square feet will be painted? So basically, let's paint the whole house. That's this triangle up here. So I have this triangle, which has a base of what? Yeah, that's the same as this, so 18. And what's the height of that triangle? 4. Plus that bottom rectangle part of the house is 18 by 12. And then I'm just going to not paint the door. So what do you do with that? Yeah, I subtract it out. And they told me the door is 2 by 9. So for a triangle, that's base times height divided by 2. A rectangle is just base times height. And then it's another rectangle, so another base times height. Okay, go ahead and plug those numbers in. Again, please be like pausing the video and trying these first and then unpausing it and coming back. Okay, so you have 18 times 4 over 2. Well, half of 18 is 9, and 9 times 4 is 36. Here is 18 times 12, and 18 times 12, you should have gotten 216. And then 2 times 9 is 18. And then go ahead and type in 36 plus 216. Okay. Now subtract 18. What'd you get? Yeah, you should have gotten 234 square feet. Okay, number 6 says a square playground is covered with pebbles, except for 2 equal-sized triangular portions that have grass. So that's these parts right here. How many square feet do the pebbles cover? So they're trying to find this area minus these parts. Any ideas on what you would do? Well, what's this shape? It says it's a square, right? So that means that this whole thing is 14 as well, right? So if I took, any ideas on how to get this part? Yeah, if you take the area of that whole square and what? Subtract out this triangle and that triangle, and they're equal sized triangles, so 2 of those little triangles. Then we'll get that remaining part. So this square is 14 by 14. What's the dimensions of the triangle? Well, it says from here to here 7. And then what do those tick marks mean? Yeah, that they're congruent. So that means that this is the same as this. So this is also 7. And then this triangle is the same as this. So we have a base times height and 2 of these base times height divided by 2's. So 14 by 14. and 2 of these 7 times 7 divided by 2. Um, I would just look that these 2's can cross cancel, and then you're just left with 7 times 7, which is 49. Or if you did 7 times 7 is 49, divided by 2, and then doubled that. Either way, no matter how you saw this, when you did the 2 triangles, what'd you get? Yeah, 49. And then what's 14 times 14? 196. And so when you subtract that, how much is left of that pebbled area? 147 square feet. Perfect. How are you doing so far? Okay, well, we still have a few more to redeem ourselves. If we go ahead and take a look at this one, it says, sketch a net that will form a rectangular prism. Is there only one that I can do? No, there's so many. The main thing is you want to, like, here's your one rectangle, right? And you have like 2 bases coming off of it. And since a rectangle, like, because that's your base shape, has 4 sides, you need 1, 2, 3, 4 rectangles coming off of it. Okay. Basically, anything would work as long as you have like your bases on opposite parallel sides. And so you could have like switched it and rotated it this way. You could have even had, okay, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. Like maybe the one base was here and the other base was here. Okay, as long as they're on like opposite sides, it's fine. The only thing you can't do is if you have the bases, like let's pretend that that wasn't there and you had it here, then that wouldn't work. You can't have the bases be on the same side because then when it folds up, it's going to end up covering the same side twice and one side will be left uncovered. You also can't have it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like all in a row. Like, yes, you have the right number of sides, but you have no like sides to fold up to your 2 bases. And so 2 sides are going to get covered twice and then some will be left uncovered. So that wouldn't work. And same thing with this. Like that wouldn't work. So other than having too few sides or too many sides or like them all in a row or something, those are the only things that wouldn't work. Otherwise, I'm sure anything that you drew looks beautiful and perfect and will work. Now for a square pyramid, pyramid means how many bases? Yes, 1 base. And that first name tells you the shape of your base. So let's draw a square in the middle. And then prisms have rectangular sides. What are the side faces of a pyramid? Yeah, triangles. And how many triangles need to come off? Well, however many sides your base shape has. And since your base has 4 sides, you need to draw 4 triangles coming off. So pyramids are actually like the easiest ones to do. You just draw your center shape, which is that first name of your pyramid. And then you draw however many triangles coming off of it, depending upon how many sides your base shape has. Easy peasy. Okay. Next one. Mark each statement about the figure below as true or false. And if it's false, rewrite it to make it true. This is a triangular prism. Well, if it's a prism, it needs 2 identical bases with rectangular sides. So I see the rectangular sides, which means anything that's not a rectangle has to be my 2 bases. And those 2 bases are triangles. So yes, it is a triangular prism. And then double check it actually makes that. Since it has 3 sides, it has 3 rectangles coming off. The figure has 1 rectangular base. No, it does not. It has 2 triangle bases. The 2 triangles are congruent. Sure, because they look that way. There's nothing to prove false, so I mean, we'll say true. They should give us more information though. Okay, all 3 of the rectangles are congruent. No, that can't be true because if like you can just tell by looking that that's not the same as this to be a right triangle. This side has to be bigger. So none of the rectangles are congruent because they each have like the different heights. And actually, in order to be this, This is probably like a 3, 4, 5 triangle or something because it's a right angle right here. It's a right triangle. So because this, and this are different, all three rectangles are going to be different. None of the rectangles are congruent because all three sides of the triangle are different. Okay, so we fixed that one. This false statement, it doesn't have one rectangular base. What does it have? It has two triangle bases. And actually, I want to go back to this statement. It says the two triangles are congruent. When I was reading that, I was reading it as like this side and this side, like is it an isosceles one? And I was like, we don't have enough information. But is that what it was actually saying of how I was reading it? No, it wasn't saying that. It was saying, is this triangle congruent to this triangle? And yes, of course it is, because what is the definition of being a prism? That you have two identical congruent bases that are parallel to each other. So that one actually has to be true. Okay, it's not even up for debate. That's true. Yes, it is a triangular prism. That is false. It has two triangle bases. And yeah, because these are different sides, all three of these have to be different. And you can just tell by looking at them that they're all different too. Okay, moving on. Number 10 says determine the surface area of the rectangular prism net below. So let's start with this one. This one looks easier. Okay, so I know that this is 9, and this side is what? Well, this is the same as this, so this is 5. What is 9 times 5? 45. And then because it's a rectangular prism, when you fold it up, like the top and bottom are the same, the left and right are the same, and the front and back are the same. And each of those sides is separated by one side in between. So if this is 45, I know this is 45 as well. And then you can kind of tell. So that means that this guy and this guy are the same, and this will then fold up and touch this. So this is 4. So this is a 4 by 5, which is 20. And then that makes this 20. And then here, this is 4 by, this side is the same as this, so 9, and 4 times 9 is 36, which makes that guy 36. So there you go. You have two 20s, two 45s, and two 36s. So two 20s is 40, two 45s is 90, and two 36s is 72. I mean, you could have gotten 20 plus 20 plus 45 plus 45 plus 36 plus 36. That's fine too. I just like doing it this way. And when you added all those, did you get 202? Perfect. And I must be right if that's what you got. Okay. I like just writing out whenever it's not a rectangle, if it's like anything other than that, trapezoid, a triangle or something. I just like writing out the shape and labeling it with the formula so I don't forget to do anything. So I have the height of that triangle is 4. That base is right here, which is the same as, that side, which is 4. So 4 times 4 divided by 2. Well, that's 16 divided by 2, so you get 8, which means this guy is 8 and this guy is 8. So you have 2 8s. All right, what else? Well, I have a 9 by 4.5, so type that in, 9 times 4.5. You get 40.5. If this is 9, and 9 times 4, you should have gotten 36. And, okay, this is 9, because, these are the same. But this guy, since they didn't label these other sides, they had to have been, what do you think? Well, because they didn't label it, I'm assuming that then, like, these are isosceles. These are the same. So if this is 4.5, it folds, and that's 4.5, which then means that this side is probably 4.5, which touches this side. So you have 4.5 by 9, which is also a 40.5. Because they didn't tell me what the other side is, so then I'm supposed to assume that they're equal. So I have another 40.5. Okay, add all those together. What do you get? Yeah, 133 feet squared. Okay, if this were on a quiz for us, like we would tell you that these sides were like equal, like and maybe have tick marks right here. And then you know that this is 4.5 because that touches this side. So then you would have had enough information because this touches here. And then since those tick marks were here, that would have told me that that was 4.5. Will be more obvious when we do it on our quizzes, okay? Determine the surface area of the square pyramid. Because they said it's a square pyramid, this is the same as this. So 7 times 7 is, yes, 49. Okay, and then for your triangle, it has a base of 7 and a height of 8.2. So base times height divided by 2, 7 times 8.2 is, okay, and then divided by 2, you get 28.7. So this guy is 28.7, which means this one is 28.7. Now, because it's a square, that means this is 7. And then when it folds up to the point, because it has the same base, that height has to be the same, which means then it's the same triangle. And then the left is always the same as the right over there. So there are 4 triangles that are each 28.7. So when you do 4 times 28.7, what do you get? Yeah, 114.8. And then don't forget your square base, which was 49. So when you add all those together, you should have gotten 163.8. Perfect. That one was tough. Okay, how you doing so far? Feeling good? Okay, we're almost done. Moving on to the next page. Volume, so much easier, right? Surface area would be tough. Volume be much better. It says, how many small cubes with a side length of 1/3 centimeter will fit inside the larger rectangular prism below? What do you think I need to do? When you want to know how much will fit inside of something, what does that mean? Should you add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Yeah, you should divide, right? But before I can figure out what to divide, I need to figure out what's the volume of this one and what's the volume of the little dude. Well, if it's a cube, that means all the sides are the same. So that little tiny cube has a 1/3 length, a 1/3 width, and a 1/3 height. So when I multiply all that, 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. And on the bottom, 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27. So that has 1/27 cubic units for that little tiny small cube. For this big dude, he has a length of 7/3, a width of 4/3, and a height of 2/3. So go ahead and 7 times 4 is 28. 28 times 2, you get 56. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Okay, so 27 goes into 56 twice. And then you have 2 left over. Okay, so either of those is okay. And then you want to take the bigger cube, which, you know what, instead of using this, I'm going to use this version just because it's easier, because I had to change it into a fraction anyways. So you have the big one divided by the small one. And when you divide, remember you do keep, change, flip, which means you keep the first one the same. You change division and multiplication, and you flip that second fraction. And now 27 and 27 can each become 1. And now you have 56 times 1, which is just 56, over 1 times 1, which is just 1. So you can fit 56 cubes inside. Okay, the next one is the same type of problem. So if you didn't do that one on your own, do this one. Okay, you paused it, and then you unpaused it. You're back with us. Let's find the volume of the big guy first. So you have 1/4 times 5/4 times 3/4. So 5 times 3 is 15. 4 times 4 is 16. Times 4 is 64. Okay. And then to find the smaller one, it said the smaller cube had each side length of 1/4. So 1/4 times 1/4 times 1/4. Well, 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 4 is 64. So you have 64 cubic units. You want to know how many of these can fit inside of these. So you have 15 over 64 divided by 1 over 64. So keep, change, flip. And look how nicely that worked out. These canceled. And then when you multiply across, you have 15 times 1 over 1 times 1, which is just 1. So 15 over 1 is 15 cubes can fit inside. Perfect. Okay, moving right along here. Madison is building a toy box that measures 2 by 5 by 3.5 feet. What is the volume? Okay, well, that's easy. Length times width times height for the rectangular prism. So 2 times 5 times 3.5. And 2 times 5 is, 10. And 10 times 3.5 just moves the decimal over 1. So you get 35 cubic feet. And if you ask yourself, how come for area it was always like square feet, and for volume it's cubic feet? Because you have feet times feet times feet, so feet cubed. Versus area is just like length times width, so like feet times feet. That's why it's feet squared. Okay, a school supply company packages the erasers shown below in boxes of 12. How many cubic inches does the package contain? So let's look at one of the erasers. Okay, it's in the shape of a cube, and you're finding the volume. So length times width times height. The length is 2, the width is 1, and the height 1.5. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 1.5 is, yes, 3 cubic inches. That's the volume of one of the erasers. But it says that they come in packs of 12. So let's do 3 times 12, and you get 36 cubic inches. There you go. Okay, what is the missing height? So we're trying to find that, the height of the object below, if the volume is that many cubic meters. So cubic meters is just meters cubed, right? So that tells me that it's the volume. Even if it didn't say the volume, because they said cubic meters, I know that's a volume measurement. And it's a rectangular prism that we're dealing with volume, so that's my formula. They told me the volume, so I'm going to plug that in for V. Did they tell me the length? Yeah, 11. Did they tell me the width? 8. And the height? No, that's what they asked me to solve for. So now what would you do? Yeah, simplify over here. What's 11 times 8? 88. And then how do you get h by itself? I want to get rid of that 88. What's happening with the 88 and the h? They're being multiplied. What's the inverse of multiplying? Yeah, to divide. So let's divide to get those to cancel, because anything divided by itself is 1. And now you have 1 times h, or h. And I can randomly just decide to divide by 88. Because notice here, like I just did what it said. I said 11 times 8, that's why I did it. But here, I randomly just decided, like, I want to divide by 88 to get it to go away. I can do that as long as I do the same thing to the other side. Okay, and here you're like, well, how come you didn't do that to both sides? Because it actually was part of the problem to do 11 times 8. I just simplified it. But here, there was no dividing by 88. I just decided to do that so that I could get h by itself. And because I randomly decided to do it, that's why I had to do it to the other side. Just wanted to throw that out there. Okay, now 352 divided by 88, you get 4. Now what's my unit? Is it meters, meters squared, or meters cubed? Well, I'm solving for the height, so what's the height measurement in? Yeah, just meters. Okay, a rectangular prism has a base with an area of 200 centimeters squared, and the volume is that. What's the height? So do you remember, we always do length times width times height, right? But in reality, this length times width stands for the area of the base shape right here. Because the original volume formula is volume equals area of the base times the height. Where the big B stands for the area right here of this base shape, like length times width. So they're saying, hey, I already told you what the length times width is, and that length times width is 200. That's what the area of your base shape is. But can you find the height for me if the volume of the whole thing is 3,000? Okay, so what would you do? Well, yeah, to get h by itself, you want to divide by 200. So here, those zeros cancel. Those zeros cancel. Now what's 30 divided by 2? Mm-hmm. 15. Now 15 what? Centimeters squared, or centimeters cubed? Yeah, just centimeters, because you're solving for the height. And essentially, look what you were doing right here. The 3,000 was centimeters cubed, right? And the 200 was centimeters squared. So you have centimeters times centimeters times centimeters for centimeters cubed, and centimeters times centimeters for the centimeters squared. Canceled, canceled. You're just left with 1 centimeter. There you go. That was the height. Just showing you like why it worked out that way. But we know that height is just singular units. Okay. Almost done. Last page. You got this. The last page. The first one says a bathtub in the shape of a rectangular prism measures 8 feet by 3 feet by 2 feet. How many cubic feet of water will the bathtub hold? Well, if it's asking for how many cubic feet, it's asking for the volume. How much can fit inside? So rectangular prism, length times width times height. They told me that the length was 8 and that the width was 3 and that the height was 2. So 8 times 3 is, 24. And 24 times 2? Yes, you should have gotten 48. And it was in cubic feet. Okay, finally, number 20 says a farmer is filling a hole in his farm with dirt. He measures the hole to be in the shape of a rectangular prism, measuring 12 by 4 by 3. If the cost of dirt is $1.25 per cubic foot, then how much will he spend? Okay, so money per cubic foot. He says it's $1.25 for 1 cubic foot. And then he says how much will he spend? So how much money for however many cubic feet he has? Well, how much cubic feet does he have? That's a volume. So we need to find the volume. Okay, well, of this rectangular prism, let's find the volume. They said that the length was 12, that the width was 4, and that the height was 3. Well, 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 times 12 is 144. So that's how many cubic feet this is. So if you have 144 cubic feet, how much money is that going to be? Well, always go towards your unknown. So go this way. 1 times what is 144? Yeah, 144. So then do the same thing here. And 1.25 times 144 is 180. So that means he's going to spend $180 because he has 144 cubic feet, and it's $1.25 for just one of them. So there you go. Okay, you didn't have to set it up as a proportion. That's just easy. But as long as you got to $180, you're good. Okay, a terrarium is filled 1/2 of the way. I don't want to forget about that. With dirt. How many cubic centimeters of dirt does a terrarium have? Well, cubic centimeters means it wants the volume. And then once I find the volume, what would I do? Yeah, cut it in half. So I'm just going to put a little divided by 2 over here with an equal sign and my box of centimeters cubed so I don't forget to divide by 2 at the end. Okay, so let's find the actual volume of this box. 22, width is 9, height is 12. 9 times 12 is 108, and 108 times 22, what do you get? Yeah, 2,376 cubic centimeters, but it's only filled halfway. So take that, divide by 2, and you get, yes, 1,188 cubic centimeters. Okay, hallelujah. We are on the last one. Are you ready? It says a small box in the shape of a cube has a length of 5 inches. How many cubic inches will the box hold? It's asking for cubic inches, which means it's asking for the volume of a cube, which is length times width times height. And for specific, for a cube, all the sides are the same. So the length, width, and height are all the same. Some people would write like 5 cubed, which means 5 times 5 times 5. Well, what is that? 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is 125 cubic inches. There you go. Done. Okay, now I want to point something out. Some people put the answer as this, and they're like, oh, I'm right, because the unit is cubed. This is not saying the same thing as this. This is saying 125 times 125 times 125. That's not the answer. The answer is just 125. We know that it's 5 cubed, 5 times 5 times 5 to get the answer. So please, please, please do not put the unit here, like the cubed part for that. Put it next to the actual like inches, feet, squared. Because if you put it next to the number, that's saying 125 times 125 times 125, which, yes, we will mark you wrong for that. Okay? Just wanted to throw that out there. Congratulations, my little mathematicians. You have now mastered some really, really hard stuff of the geometry unit: surface area, area, perimeter. You got this. You're going to do amazing on your quiz.